Nike, the undisputed king of sports apparel, just made a mistake so massive it nearly cost them the future of basketball. They had the hottest star on the planet, Caitlin Clark, in their grasp, and nearly let her slip away in a stunning display of corporate arrogance. But this wasn't just a bad negotiation. It was a secret high-stakes war where Nike's rivals launched a shocking ambush that exposed a billion-dollar blind spot in their global empire. What really happened behind closed doors wasn't just about a contract, it was a battle that would fundamentally change the rules of sports marketing forever and leave Nike scrambling to save its reputation. Imagine being Caitlin Clark, the most electrifying player in a generation, and Nike, the brand of legends, barely has you on their radar. As Nike was casually assuming she'd fall in line, Adidas didn't just knock on the door, they kicked it down with an offer that was pure genius. They didn't just offer a contract, they offered a kingdom. Their proposal was a stunning multi-million-dollar per year deal that included something Nike wasn't prepared to give, a full creative partnership. Adidas wanted Clark's mind, her vision, and her voice from day one, promising her a signature shoe immediately and a lucrative percentage of the profits. It was a golden ticket, a chance to build her own brand from the ground up, not just be a paid face for someone else's. This power move was designed to do one thing: reveal to the world just how badly Nike was fumbling the ball. While Adidas was rolling out the red carpet, Nike was making a colossal miscalculation that would almost become the stuff of corporate legend. Their initial plan for Clark was shockingly dismissive. They operated on business as usual, offering a standard endorsement deal that would have her wait in line behind established stars. Their timeline for her signature shoe was even more insulting, with insiders suggesting it wouldn't even hit shelves until 2026 or possibly even later. They saw a rising star, but they utterly failed to comprehend the cultural phenomenon that was already happening right in front of them. They were treating a full-blown revolution like a minor league call-up, completely underestimating the Caitlin Clark effect that was already selling out arenas and dominating global headlines. This wasn't just a simple oversight, it was a billion-dollar blunder rooted in pure hubris. But Adidas wasn't the only shark circling. Under Armour, sensing Nike's hesitation, launched their own surgical strike. They deployed their ultimate weapon, Stephen Curry. The greatest shooter in NBA history, was personally brought into the negotiations to pitch Caitlin Clark. He didn't just talk about shoes and money, he talked about legacy, about changing the game, and about building something revolutionary together under the Curry brand umbrella. This wasn't just a meeting, it was a power move of the highest order. Having a living legend like Curry personally recruit you showed the level of respect and priority Under Armour was willing to offer, making Nike's casual approach look even more negligent and disrespectful by the second. The war for Caitlin Clark had just escalated dramatically. Nike's hesitation wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a symptom of a much deeper problem. For decades, the company has operated on an old, outdated playbook: sign young talent, make them wait, and only grant them a signature shoe after they've proven themselves over several years. It worked for giants like Michael Jordan and LeBron James, but the world has changed. In the age of social media and instant stardom, Clark's explosion wasn't a slow burn, it was a supernova. Nike's arrogant wait-and-see strategy, a relic of a bygone era, finally blew up in their face. They were still playing chess while the rest of the world was playing a much faster, more unpredictable game, and their failure to adapt nearly cost them everything. When Nike finally got wind of just how serious the offers from Adidas and Under Armour were, their first instinct wasn't to create a better plan for Clark, it wasn't to celebrate her. Instead, they went straight for the lawyers. Reports from within the industry suggest Nike's initial response was a cold, calculated legal one. They began exploring legal action, threatening to enforce obscure matching clauses in their old college NAL deal to block Clark from even considering another brand. This move backfired spectacularly. Instead of looking powerful, Nike came across as a desperate corporate bully, more interested in courtroom intimidation than in fostering a genuine partnership with their star athlete. While Adidas and Under Armour were planning Clark's future, Nike was busy drafting legal papers. The public backlash from these revelations was instant, brutal, and forced Nike to hit the panic button. Suddenly, the quiet, confident offices in Oregon were in a state of emergency. A frantic, chaotic scramble began to undo the damage that their own arrogance had caused. New marketing materials featuring Clark were rushed into production overnight, and millions in bonuses were suddenly added to a deal that was previously considered standard. It was a transparent attempt to save face, a mad dash to prove they valued a star they had just weeks before completely taken for granted. But this last-minute push felt disingenuous and forced, and fans could see right through the corporate spin. Nike wasn't leading the charge anymore. They were just trying to catch up to a parade that had already left them in the dust. To understand the depth of Nike's initial disrespect, you only need to look at the cold, hard numbers. When the dust finally settled, Nike re-signed Clark to a groundbreaking deal worth up to $28 million over 8 years. An impressive figure, until you compare it to what they had just given a male rookie. Just before this, they had handed NBA phenom Victor Wembanyama a contract worth a staggering $100 million. The $72 million disparity was impossible to ignore and sparked a firestorm of debate. Fans and analysts were left asking a brutal question: is the undisputed face of women's basketball really worth 72% less than her male counterpart? This wasn't just about money, it was a shocking public statement on how one of the world's biggest brands valued, or rather devalued, its female athletes. The supreme irony is that Nike had a front row seat to the cultural phenomenon they were actively and inexplicably ignoring. Caitlin Clark wasn't just having a good rookie season, she was starting a global movement. She was shattering viewership records on a weekly basis, and her India Fever jerseys were selling out in minutes, outselling entire WNBA teams combined. Arenas were packed to the rafters, not just for the home team, but with thousands of fans who came just to see her play. She was single-handedly elevating the sport to unprecedented new heights, and yet, Nike's grand strategic plan was to keep her signature shoe under wraps for years. They owned the main attraction, but chose to keep the curtains closed while the whole world was clamoring for a ticket. The situation was made even more embarrassing by the jersey fiasco. As Clark's popularity exploded, demand for her number 22 Indiana Fever jersey went through the roof. But Nike and their retail partner Fanatics were completely unprepared. The jersey sold out online within an hour of her being drafted, and for months, fans were unable to buy them. This wasn't just a supply chain issue, it was a tangible, embarrassing symbol of just how profoundly Nike had underestimated her commercial power. They left millions of dollars on the table and infuriated a legion of new fans. It was a logistical failure that perfectly mirrored their strategic one. They simply didn't believe the hype was real until it was too late. Adding to the chaos was a controversial internal decision at Nike that made things even worse. The company chose to prioritize the signature shoe of two-time WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson. While Wilson is an incredible dominant athlete who absolutely deserved her own shoe line, the timing of the announcement was a strategic disaster. By putting Wilson's shoe first, Nike was effectively telling Caitlin Clark, the single most popular and marketable basketball player in the world at that moment, that she had to wait her turn. This move stalled her brand's momentum right as it was reaching its peak and left her millions of fans confused and frustrated, wondering why they couldn't buy the shoes of their favorite player. This decision likely sparked a civil war within Nike's marketing department. On one side, you had the traditionalists, arguing for loyalty to established stars like Wilson and Breanna Stewart, wanting to respect the hierarchy. On the other, you had the forward thinkers, who saw the once-in-a-generation commercial monster that Caitlin Clark had become, and knew they needed to capitalize on it immediately. This internal conflict between respecting the past and embracing the future is likely what led to the paralysis and indecision that almost cost them their biggest star. They were so caught up in their own internal politics that they couldn't see the tidal wave of public opinion that was about to crash down on them. As details of the deal mishandling and internal debates leaked, a digital firestorm erupted. Social media became a global courtroom where Nike was found guilty of gross negligence and arrogance. Fans, sports analysts, and even legends like Billie Jean King publicly called out the brand, accusing them of fumbling the future and fundamentally disrespecting women's sports. Every post, tweet, and article highlighted Nike's mistake, turning a quiet negotiation into a full-blown PR crisis. The brand built on the slogan, "Just do it," was now being universally told they just didn't get it, and the damage to their carefully crafted image was spreading like wildfire across the globe. This entire saga was more than just a contract dispute, it was a seismic shift in the balance of power between athletes and corporations. Caitlin Clark's near defection exposed the outdated top-down approach of legacy brands for the whole world to see. She proved that modern athletes are no longer just walking billboards for hire. They are powerful brands in their own right, with the social media influence to drive global conversations and the leverage to demand true, respectful partnerships. Her story became the new playbook for young athletes everywhere, teaching them to know their worth, demand their value, and never settle for a brand that doesn't see their full potential. The Clark negotiation has permanently altered the landscape for female athletes. For decades, endorsement deals in women's sports were often treated as secondary, with smaller figures and fewer perks. But by holding her ground and forcing a corporate giant like Nike to not only pay up, but also grant creative control and a signature shoe, Clark set a new gold standard. Her $28 million contract is now the benchmark. Every talented female athlete coming up behind her now has a powerful precedent. Agents can now walk into boardrooms and say, "This is the new starting point." The ripple effect of this one deal will be felt for generations, empowering countless women to demand the respect and compensation they deserve. Faced with a tarnished reputation and a rightfully restless superstar, Nike launched a desperate comeback mission. They dramatically accelerated the release date of her signature shoe and unleashed a blitz of marketing campaigns designed to put Clark front and center of their brand. It was a massive, expensive investment, a frantic attempt to prove to the world and to Clark herself that they were finally all in, but for many, it felt like a hollow, calculated gesture. The big question lingered. Was this a genuine change of heart and a new commitment to their athlete, or was it simply a cold, cynical business decision to stop the bleeding and regain control of a narrative they had so spectacularly lost? In the end, Nike kept Caitlin Clark, but they paid a steep price, far beyond the $28 million. They were forced to write a massive check, and more importantly, they suffered a major blow to their reputation as the ultimate forward-thinking kingmaker in sports. Adidas and Under Armour may have lost the bidding war, but they won a massive strategic victory by exposing their rivals' arrogance and weakness to the world. But the real undisputed winner in all of this was Caitlin Clark. She not only secured a historic landscape-altering deal, but also reminded the entire industry that the power is shifting, and now it lies with the athletes. She changed the entire game without ever having to step on the court.